Welcome to the latest episode of the Closer's Corner podcast. My name is Greg Simpson. I am your host as always. And today I actually have my business partner, Jeremy Kloter, and our broker in the house today.
Whoa.
Knew that was coming. So we wanted to bring you guys a year in review type episode of what we've done over at Out Fast Realty on the brokerage side, and then we'll talk about the property management side, which is pretty much Jeremy's bread and butter. And so, Jeremy, welcome to the Closer's Corner for the first
Thanks
time.
for having me. Always honored to be a special guest.
All right, man. So, I talked about it on the live, and we'll talk about it this one, since this one is the one that gets uploaded to Spotify and Apple and all that stuff. Did make a year in review of 2021. Good Lord, I still can't believe that 2021 is over. I feel like it was still 2020 with all this nonsense going on.
Past 2 years is a blur.
It kind of is, but I talked about how we went from basically in 2019, roughly about 15, 16, 17 agents, somewhere around there at the end of the year, to 35 in 2020. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of last year, we were roughly right around the 80 mark. So we added basically around 50 agents in 1 year.
Yeah.
And how we've kind of done that. And I went through the numbers, and I'm anxious to really hear some of your numbers on the property management side. But for those that are watching or listening to this podcast, we had our best year ever as the brokerage for sure. Mm-hmm. And, people, we can talk about this because this is what we talk about internally. Everyone knows that we're pretty transparent over here at what we do. And we didn't really try to recruit agents until basically 2021.
Yeah, a lot of it was just circle, word of mouth, that sort of thing. So I think as last year, I think what was big for us was, ironed out a couple things that we wanted to improve on, and Greg really fine-tuned kind of his recruitment or onboarding process. So I think that drilling that down and just having a really solid kind of chat when he's interviewing people or talking with other agents, that was a big thing. But I think it was just compounding the result as well of just building the brand and really finding the agents that that we're attracting, or culture fit and different things that they're doing sheds light on the brokerage. So obviously a lot of people know us because we're the investment side, but also bringing in some top producers and people that are doing really well with just traditional buyers and sellers and that sort of thing. So I think we have a really good mix of that, but just continue to build on that and just putting a little bit more effort towards the recruitment piece, but really fine tuning that, and then the nurturing process, and that's really been Greg's big thing for that, has just been kind of handling that, getting them in the door, and then from there it's just trying to continue to add value as we can and figure out what agents are wanting in the market.
Bingo.
Because they're all, everyone wants something different, so you're trying to kind of cater to everyone that's looking at coming on board and what we continue to do to build on that.
And to go back off that, not everyone's a fit for us. It's just not a thing. Not everyone wants to do things the way that we do them, right? We have several agents who are only on the retail side. We have several agents who are only on the investment side who don't do any listings or work with buyers. And we've got several people who don't do any flips or don't own any rental properties, but they're trying to, right? And so it's finding a way, like you said, to cater to what they're looking for, because I feel, and they'll tell you, that we pretty much offer everything they need, because they have a little bit of free reign to do what they want to do within the bounds of the law and the bounds of the guidelines and regulations that they have, and the code of ethics and all that stuff. But we provide a pretty cool thing because we don't put them in a box.
Yeah. And we always keep an open mind. I think we expanded into another MLS last year, which, a lot of we had 3 or 5 agents that were wanting to expand in one of the other MLS areas or whatever. And so, we took a look at it and so I think they appreciate that we listen and that we're flexible and that we really try to do everything we can to kind of mold to what they're looking for. Mm-hmm. And I think that just speaks to how we are as leadership, if you will. Yeah. Trying to move in that direction.
I think the funniest thing for us, at least for me, as the one that was doing all the recruiting, or the majority of the recruiting last year, was that recruiting is actually a freaking thing. I didn't realize that people just didn't get their license and just already had picked a place to go. I didn't realize that you could do the things that we do to recruit people when they get their license, or looking at statistics and seeing there are trends that you can see. At least I've learned how to look at trends of what agents are doing to see if they're on the move or they're thinking about going and making a move. Now you can't ever predict when someone's going to be pissed off at their broker or pissed off at a process or a system that was implemented at that company and that they didn't like. But it's crazy to me it's almost its own freaking business and it's in and of itself, the recruitment of agents. And so, but I think that the social media presence that we have built and featuring our agents and showing them winning and showing them being successful has really helped us in recruiting them too and giving the social proof.
Yeah, and figuring out where the agents that are wanting to come on board or at least interview is, what stage are they? So whether they're just about to study for their license, they just passed the test, or they're been in a couple years and they're still with their first company and looking to make a switch, or just trying to get the top producers and what those people are looking for, whether it's franchise opportunity down the road or just build out a team. And so trying to kind of make it work for all those different types of people. And as broker and Greg, like us not competing against the agents and having the roles separate. So what you can sometimes find is a broker that may still be self-generating or generating business, which is fine, but then it's very hard to do both, produce and manage a brokerage and then manage the agents. There's all these different pieces. And so I think that we have a split on the roles to where, all that stuff kind of, it works itself out, office manager, that sort of stuff, where you can help really add value in the spot that you're sitting in. But especially at some of the smaller competing brokerages, I think that's something that we hear about or that we notice from other people is just you get pulled in so many directions. And so I think that's a value that we have, is that we're always available. I mean, we're pretty much in the office every day. 9 to 5 or something like that, unless we have things going on. But we're always here. So
for sure, so it's pretty hard to believe that, because everything is a blur, right? We've got our head down, we've got our goals, we've got our vision, our mission, all that stuff, right? We just hit 5 years. Can you believe we've been doing this for 5 years? Sometimes it does, but all of a sudden it feels like it was just yesterday. We were over a gun highway, and we're like, "Hey, Dad, let's start a brokerage. Let's go."
Yeah, I was driving by. My brother lives over by the office over there, so I was just driving there. I think last week or 2 weeks ago. The buildings kind of look the same. I was I was telling Gloria, because I don't think she had ever been to the office.
I don't think so either.
Once. And it was maybe it was 1,000 square feet or so. The walls were brown and dingy.
Terrible. So not our style.
And that's kind of funny because you have to, there's so many things that we've changed or moved around, just learning and whatever. But sometimes it feels like things don't move fast enough. And I think people on the outside are probably you guys are, trying to do too much or you're moving too fast. So sometimes, there's things to work through with that, but I think that...
Oh, yeah, I can't tell you how many times we fucking fell flat on our fucking face trying to do something, and it was well, that was stupid. Yeah. And that's just learning and failing forward, Good Lord, we could probably make a laundry list of the failures we've had versus the successes that we've had. I mean, again, we were brokers for 3.5 years before we realized that, hey, this is how you actually recruit an agent. Holy shit. Man.
And really putting some intent behind that. So,
yeah.
Yeah, and then, so I think it was Out Fast was, 2016?
Yep.
Sometime that year. Then we split off the management side sometime in 17. I think it was early 17 or something. I don't recall. But yeah, so it's been a pretty short ride still. But 5 years, obviously big just in the business environment. And then, for businesses that are still around. So, yeah.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this and it's before January 26th of this year, we are having our 5-year anniversary party here at the office, where we will be announcing some really badass things for them, including, we can talk about it now, the franchising that is launching the Out Fast Realty Brokerage starting in literally about a month or two from now.
Yep.
So we will have some really cool announcements on that at that party. We will be announcing our Top Agent Awards at that.
Everyone's invited.
Everyone is invited. If you are listening to this, you are invited to come to this.
Come hang out.
Come hang out with us for
Open
a couple
to the
hours.
Public.
Yep, from 6 to 8 p.m. You guys can come join us. But so we're gonna have a big shindig. If you're an agent and you're watching or listening, you're required to be here. I will kick your ass. I might fire you if you don't come. But I want to talk about the growth that we did have in 2021 versus even 2020, which 2020 we thought was going to be such a shit year for real estate. Ended up being a really good year on its own, and then it just kind of accelerated even more into 2021. But I wanted to kind of go over the numbers that you may not even realize yet.
Yeah.
what I was saying, like on the live, we do have technically two offices, but we don't really have an office that operates in Pinellas County. It's more for just to be able to have people that are part of Pro over there. But I digress. So between the two offices, overall, the whole overall brokerage, we did $92.7 million in volume. It means we sold $93 million in sales last year of houses. Okay, and then we did between the two offices 296 buy and sell transactions, and then the difference of the 422 is actually the leases that our agents helped you do on the broker or the property management
Seems
side.
like a lot, man. Yeah,
it does.
And we always
again,
have turnovers going.
And the thing is, like, when we started 2021, we were still roughly around the 35 agent range, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, it just kind of got bigger and better as we went. But I watched these numbers all year long, and they just, even if we were at 50 agents, 55 agents, 20 or 35 agents, whatever it was, we were still hitting these metrics for the most part. But we did do 296 transactions, and the growth of the volume of sales is basically 153% from year over year. Now, granted, we're in a crazy market, so the sales prices have jumped about 20%, but we're crushing that by leaps and bounds in the amount of volume that we did as a company. But what I said on the live that really impressed me and should impress you watching or listening to this is the amount of deals. We are the deal makers here at Out Fast, right? That's our tribe. In the Tampa office, we did 240 deals, transactions, buy side, sell side combined. In the Pinellas County, we did 55 and a half. You're getting that total of 296. In the Tampa office, that's an increase of deal flow. Amount of deals is 105%. So we doubled the amount of deals we did in 1 year without doubling our agents. Okay?
Yeah.
In the Pinellas County, we did 73% of an increase. We almost doubled in that office as well. That's what matters to me. I don't give a shit if you, as an agent or a brokerage, you did X amount of more in volume. That's great. We crushed that too. It's the amount of deals in the market that we did.
And it'll be good to see this year where it ends up panning out.
Yep.
But yeah, because you look at different brokerages that are in our market, and our agents produce average production of the agents higher than most of our competition. So
that is true.
So that's always good just to have that going on. But yeah, we have a benefit of the market. So even on the management side, we're growing rapidly, but we have a lot of investors that want to be here. So same thing that agents get the benefit of is the management side of just growth and rent increases, that sort of stuff. So some of it's timing, that's good, but it's as agents understanding that things are not going to be rosy. Everyone's winning right now. So when the market shifts, how are you prepared to weather that storm, or whether it's education, your own personal investments, like whatever you're going to do to have a pivot or just grab more market share when it goes down as an agent. But just when it's not as frothy, making sure that your systems and stuff are still getting built out so that you can even do a better job if things start to slow down at some point.
Yeah, and everyone asks us, what is your prediction for this year in the real estate market? And I know because Zillow just brought out that Tampa Bay is going to be the best market in 2022. Well, they don't know shit either. Everyone asked me, we got asked yesterday, how do you think the market's going to go this year and stuff? Do you think there's a correction on the horizon? The answer is, I don't freaking know. And I'm not in the prediction game anymore. I tried to predict that stuff back in 2016 when we had an election cycle, and by God, we should have had a correction in 2017. Didn't matter who freaking won the election, and we didn't.
Yeah.
Exploded. And then we have COVID. Should have completely destroyed the real estate market. Completely should have done it. And it did the complete opposite. So I'm out. I'm not predicting ever again. But you need to be prepared for that. It doesn't have to be like forefront of your mind, but you do have to have like that contingency plan if it does fall apart.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened in 2008 and 9 is these agents like, oh, we're going to ride the wave. It's going to be like this forever. And then 2009 comes around and the bottom fell out and they had no contingency plan. And 80% of agents disappeared overnight.
Yeah.
They didn't die. They just went out of business. Sorry.
Yeah. And just all the growth and stuff, the development side, it should continue to be a healthy market,
Should.
So we'll see. But yeah, it's crazy. I was just like running some comps yesterday for an owner where the lease renewal is coming up, and I think the comps are going at like $350 more than just a year ago.
Jesus.
On a little 3-2 house, Tampa Heights or Ybor area. And so yeah, it's crazy just the rent growth and stuff happening too. But yeah, all that stuff plays out, people buying, investors coming in. So
Yeah.
it should be a pretty good clip still this year, I would think.
What kind of growth did you see on the property management side? Because we just talked about the brokerage. What did you see numbers wise for the management side?
Yeah, so our total door count, so we basically doubled the last 3 years in a row. So last year we ended with right around 150 units or so. And then we ended the year with basically under contract for management for just over 300. And so doubling again this year. So we still have, built out a little bit more staff and stuff like that. A lot of our agents do leasing for us, which is a great thing for them to earn some commissions on the side and us not having to have a formal just leasing agent employee. And so we doubled in that. And just part of the mastermind stuff that we're involved in, just looking at our industry averages for management companies as far as the business side, being much more profitable, profit margin than your average property management company. So just being really focused on the value that we can create. A big piece of our growth has been focusing more on going after multifamily and multi-unit properties. So mostly 10 or more, has been what we've been bringing on a lot of. So the website marketing, like messaging and everything, has been more tailored towards how do we get bigger apartment buildings. You have some better economies of scale. The revenues aren't usually as good because the investors want more of a discount on things, but it's you have less owners to deal with. You have more doors per management contract. So that's been big for us. Just building relationships with the local multifamily guys at CBRE, Franklin Street, Colliers, Marcus Millichap. And so that's been huge for us is continue to develop that. And we still take the single family stuff in the 2 to 4 units. So we're still right now still taking everything. And but now we're kind of looking at, okay, what do we want to start declining, just being a little bit more picky about the areas that we want to be in, and some of that stuff. But that's been
picky on the clients and the investors too, I'm sure.
Yeah, and you have owner churn, whether they're selling or just people aren't a good fit or whatever, and that side of things. So through that, we've still kept a pretty good average on our leasing, which is still right around 21 days is the guarantee that we promote of just where the market's at and what we're able to lease properties in. So that's been good. Been adding just more maintenance people to keep up with the growth and that sort of thing. So everything's been running really smoothly. So this year we'll try to continue to add around 10 doors a month on average, and just kind of see how everything else that we're launching keep up with the growth. And probably
it's probably hard to double your doors from 300 to 600 in a year. That'd be pretty impressive if you could do that again.
Yeah, so we're kind of being conservative. We'll just we'll stick that pace with as we are franchising and doing all this other stuff. If we can just continue that growth, it'd be really good. So so we're happy with that. I've been proud of that. To agents, some of our agents closing investors and sending those referrals to us as well has been really good. But yeah, so about double in the door growth, and then some of the other metrics are just keeping up good pace with vacancy turnovers and leasing times and stuff like that. So
the non-sexy side of the business.
Yeah. Maintenance work order completion timelines and all this other stuff. So I'm just trying to keep a handle on those things, or KPIs. Some people reference them.
Yeah, I can imagine that's pretty tough keeping some of the tenants happy when you've got 300 doors. Because they have obviously maintenance requests, and owners aren't always the best to reply to those requests, and they don't always approve the request from the tenants, and so you get stuck in the middle because you can only go do so much. I do not envy you, sir.
Yeah, like tenting a property.
Oh,
you gotta displace tenants, and if it's a multi-unit building, you got to credit them rent if they're not there, and you got to make sure they're all prepped and ready for it, and just all that sort of stuff. Or every couple of year we get insurance claim or floods, that sort of stuff. So
we had our own insurance claim last year. That was fun.
Yeah.
We don't want to go down that rabbit hole, I don't think. But although Vince Perry, thank you very much for your help on that.
It's been good as we complete the the ecosystem of feeding business. 300 is pretty. It's a good size. It's I would say in the grand scheme of things, it's a good size. It's not super big. I think when you get 500-600 units, that's it's a decent size. 1,000s like where you're really starting to play in the bigger box. But 300 is still pretty
not bad in 4 years,
size.
5 years.
And so we'll kind of just let things continue to happen and grow with it and see how large we want to take it with everything else that we're launching. So
For sure.
Pretty happy with it.
Yeah, we keep saying what we're launching. You guys gotta come to the anniversary party if you want to hear the grand. Yeah, you got to come to that if you want to hear it. We'll obviously be posting stuff on social and whatnot as the big ticket items start falling. But yeah, it's gonna be. We always say it's gonna be a wild ride, but like we've been working very hard behind the scenes for the last 6 months or so between the franchising, between raising more capital for Deployed Capital Group to deploy, and some of the other back of the building type stuff that we're doing. And Maria's over here checking us out, and she's like, "What else is going on here?"
What are the things we're doing?
Yep.
Yeah, and
so that's gonna be pretty exciting. But like, it is gonna be the wildest of ride for us, for our agents, for our franchise owners, for everyone that's part of what we're actually building here. It's gonna be nuts, man.
Yeah, and as some of this stuff launches, what's also exciting is we'll be starting to take down more buildings.
Yep.
As well. So more multi-unit stuff that we'll personally be taking down to manage and do things on. So it'll be cool for agents to get more exposure to the transactions that we're doing, and stuff that we're buying, and that sort of thing. So yeah, some of the
they'll
stuff
learn
that
how
we're
they
working
can
on is crazy.
participate in the deals.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
Yes.
You'll see how that works.
Access for everyone.
That's right.
So that's what we've always been a big proponent of, trying to get people to build their own wealth, especially on the investment side. So bringing a new level of that to you guys here very, very soon.
Yeah, man. So that being said, that's all I got for today's podcast episode. It's been a hell of 5 years, man. Been a pleasure being your partner in
Congrats.
this. And thanks, yeah.
Pat myself on the back.
Yeah, for sure. We couldn't do it. We couldn't do this if we didn't work well together. So it's been a great 5 years, man. I'm really proud of what we've done. Stuck to our guns. I remember before we end the podcast, I literally remember about maybe 2.5 years ago, we sat down in our conference room and we were going through some goals. And I remember sitting there and looking at each other and going, man, what are we doing? Like, do we want to keep fucking doing this? And we looked at each other and we're like, all right, we're going to give it one more fucking year. And we said, if it doesn't fucking work in a year, we're out. Like, we were literally ready to shut this mother effer down.
We're going down.
And we said, we committed to ourselves a year. At that point, we gave ourselves 12 months to finally actually turn a profit. It wasn't a big one after 12 months, but we did. And now we're in the process of franchising and launching all this other cool stuff. So it's been a while. It literally has been pretty crazy. And again, no one gets to see the back side of this or the behind the scenes. We're going to be looked at in a couple of years as the overnight success. And it's going to be pretty crazy because the people think we made a lot of noise now or before. They ain't seen nothing yet. So thanks again, man. Love
likewise.
Stuff today, man. Good stuff.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. So again, if you find value in the Closer's Corner podcast, make sure you like us, rate us, review us on Apple. You give us a favor on Spotify. Share it with your friends and family on social media and everywhere else if you got good value out of it. And we will see you guys on the next episode of the Closer's Corner podcast.
Back.